Thank you so much for stopping by Free Range Diva today, because today we're going to be just hanging with the girls. Today we're going to be talking about how you can improve your digestion, what causes abdominal bloating, and how you can eat with confidence for optimum nutrition without having to worry about cramping, bloating, nausea, just general discomfort. Usually the first thing I tell you is that I'm not a doctor, but today we're going to be hanging with my best friend who happens to be a doctor. So before we get started, this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. It is not intended to provide medical advice or to take the place of medical advice or treatment from your personal physician, and should not be used or relied upon for diagnostic or treatment purposes. Please, please, please consult your personal medical professional before you make any changes to your diet or your health and wellness program. All right, so let me introduce you to someone that I've known since high school, years ago. This is Dr. Juanita Merchant. You are a clinician who sees patients, but it's also, would it be fair to say that your passion is really as a researcher in cancer biology and how chronic inflammation can lead to gastric or colon cancers? Mm-hmm. So what is it that you find so fascinating about research?
The research?
Yeah.
Because you can at least investigate the background behind why people are having different problems.
Right.
And I think of myself as someone that can take it from the patient all the way to the nucleus.
Yeah, so if someone is having an issue, it's you want to get past just dealing with the symptoms. You want to try and figure out what the root cause is.
Root cause, identify potential reasons that can be used to develop biomarkers or targets for therapies, and we can investigate those things in the laboratory.
Okay. Juanita is a renowned physician with a long list of professional recognition in her field. But
we went to high school.
Most recently, she was named one of the 1,000 inspiring Black scientists in America by Cell Mentor. So today, people, Juanita's going to be sharing her knowledge to help us protect and improve our digestion while inspiring us to make a favorite recipe of hers, which is
Orzo salad.
All right, here we got the Orzo, we got the salad. Let's do this.
Okay, so we already talked about that the Orzo has been pre-cooked in chicken broth, 4 cups of chicken broth, and then you just let it drain. And then you take a can of garbanzo beans.
Okay, so we can see that. There's the garbanzo beans. And Orzo, in case you guys don't know, is pasta that looks like rice. It's shaped like rice granules. All right, so go ahead with the garbanzo.
So we've already pre-rinsed these, so we'll just go ahead and add those in. Everything will get mixed together once we chop up the greens.
And that's what we're going to do now.
Okay, so we've got both the combination of the sort of teardrop red and orange or yellow tomatoes, and we'll just cut those in half.
Okay, we can do that. I got a knife, you got a knife. And while we're cutting, I'm going to ask you, what are some of the sort of common digestion issues that you get when people come to see you?
Well, I guess the typical ones are I'm constipated, or I have diarrhea and I've had it for a long period of time. Sometimes we also have people that just, bloating, another very common symptom. What else? We call it dyspepsia, but sort of upset stomach.
It's pretty much what I was saying in the beginning about cramping, bloating, gas, nausea, just basic tummy upset. And an uncomfortable feeling after we eat. So speaking of bloating, do we know what causes it?
In general, most things in the GI tract are simple plumbing, and you basically are feeding the bacteria when you eat. And so there is something called the microbiota that's already there, and when they metabolize things that your body can't digest, they metabolize it and turn it into to gas. So it's the metabolism from bacteria.
Sort of it actually is gas, right?
Yeah, they produce hydrogen and methane gas.
Ugh. Okay.
Well, that's what that's what,
No, I mean, I was just thinking when it comes out the other way, but let's.
Right, the methane, you know what methane smells like.
Yeah. Can these issues be related to like age or weight gain or food intolerances or?
Probably a combination of all of these different things. So the microbiota, the bacteria that are living in your gut, and we are starting to look at the viruses and the fungi that also live there. I mean, there's the assumption that it's just bacteria, but it is a mixture of all the different microorganisms that you can that's on the earth, basically.
Oh, sorry guys, I had to get up for a second. Okay, so we were talking about like stress, food intolerances, things that can mess up the bacteria that grow in your gut.
Right. So the bacteria that sits in your gut is established really at birth and through the mother, and that's why vaginal births, that's why breastfeeding has become very important. So there are a lot of studies that are looking at that.
Because you said, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's just that you said before that your microbiome it gets this training early in life, and if it doesn't, like if the mother has a C-section, for example, it can prevent the immune system from reacting properly.
So what you're doing once you're born is that your body your immune system, something called T cells and B cells and dendritic cells, have to be trained to recognize what is self, what's you, and what's the environment.
Okay.
So, and it's going to be trained if it's exposed to it, and you want your immune system to be exposed early. And so what we're learning is that playing in the dirt, getting dirt in your mouth, probably not too much, and hopefully without pathogens in it, but it's a time to train your immune system, growing up with animals, things like that.
Just living life.
Right, but doing that early.
Scallions. So females are not more susceptible than males then. It's just, it can be, or are they?
So that's actually an interesting question. Here in the States, something called irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, we tend to see more in women, but it's not really clear that whether it's because women tend to go to the physician more often than men. Because actually in Japan it's about 50-50. So it makes me suspicious that it's not that it's female predominant, but I think in the US there's the sort of macho man idea, and they don't want to come to the doctor with these symptoms.
Yeah, I can see that. So we put so far just the tomatoes and the scallions in there, and already, guys, it's so pretty. And garbanzo beans, I forgot about that. And now we're going to start working on herbs.
You're going to do that?
Yeah, I'll do that one. I'll do this one.
This is mint.
You got mint. I've got basil. I'm going to run and wash this while you're chopping. Be right back. All right, let's get down to the good stuff.
Uh-oh.
How can we improve our digestion at home? What are some things that we can do so that we don't have to come see you?
Well, I think people certainly need to, because we're going to still ask you this, you need to be cognizant of what you're ingesting.
Right.
And the amount of water that you're taking in. And what I find over and over again is that people will tell me that they're taking fiber, or I eat a high fiber diet, which is lettuce. That's not a high fiber diet.
Right. There's different types of fibers. There's quality, there's soluble, insoluble. We have talked about this before.
Okay. Everybody's body is going to be different. So a gallon of water for some people may still not be enough. It won't be specific, but your body is going to tell you that things are not moving through very well.
Right.
And that basically means, we can't reach in there and pull everything out. So it has to be the amount of fiber, the swelling of the fiber, and acting like a plunger to move things through.
Right.
So if it's not moving through, it usually is telling you don't have enough water, and or you're taking in what we call too much in the way of osmotic agents, too much sugar in the drinks. Even diet drinks have osmotic agents. What that does is pull water out of your vascular system, but it's really dehydrating you.
So we have actually talked about sugars and the negative effects that it can have on the body, especially when you get too much. But we did not talk about the fact that sugar can dehydrate you, even though you may be drinking it in the form of sweetened sodas or artificially sweetened beverages as well. So far we've got hydration, lots of water, getting vegetables for that fiber.
Usually, uncooked vegetables are preferred because you haven't broken down the cellular membrane. That cellulose that makes up most plants is what makes up a lot of the fiber.
Got it. And then you talked about something with me in terms of the timing of when you eat.
Well, especially people that this is more with what we call dyspepsia, upset stomach symptoms, or the feeling of burning behind the breastbone, what we consider gastroesophageal reflux disease, shortened for GERD.
GERD,
we call it GERD.
GERD, right.
But that is usually because people are eating too close to when they are going to be laying flat. So we usually just say, what time do you eat dinner versus go to bed? People are working, you may be working at night, which is clearly going to be a problem.
Right.
And then when you lay flat, you don't have gravity helping to pull things through your GI tract.
Right.
So ideally, it is nice to eat and then probably take a 30-minute walk if you think you are going to get ready to go to bed.
Right.
Otherwise, the recommendation is about 3 to 4 hours before you go to sleep, which is hard for some people.
Right. Which brings us to something else we talked about, which is exercise.
Yes. So, your gut is a big muscle. It's also the second largest nervous system. It's the largest endocrine organ. So all of these things control the movement of what you've ingested through your body. And running, sit-ups, whatever exercise, biking, whatever exercise you're doing, it's helping to move things through. It's helping that muscle, stimulating that muscle. That's why we call it the autonomic nervous system. You may not feel what it's doing. It should be very, doing this in the background.
Right.
But this moving your skeletal muscle, so, doing this and sit-ups or whatever, is good to, even if you can't, you're in a wheelchair, you can still bend over and touch your toes or do some kind of movement. It does help your digestive system.
Because we think about movement in terms of like cardiovascular health and things like that, but I have never come across movement in terms of how it actually impacts the bowel and the way that we get food from A to Z.
So after we add the basil, and we just are ready for the salad dressing.
So is my basil good? Can I put it in there?
Yeah, that's a little, thick.
Hey!
It's all going the same place.
Exactly. We just want it to look pretty.
Okay.
What else goes in there?
All right,
or is this the salad part?
Yeah, that's it. Now we're ready to make the dressing.
All right, so wait, let's just kind of, so you guys can see how pretty.
Yeah, it's a really nice summer type of salad with all the colors.
Lots of colors. Okay, so next up is the dressing.
Let's see, where's the measuring cup? And I just say that because the red wine vinegar.
Okay, so we got red wine vinegar going in. half a cup. And while she's doing that, the herbs, we put in about a quarter to a half a cup of chopped herbs, the mint and the basil. Okay, so we got a quarter cup of lemon, freshly squeezed.
I like my little lemon squeezer because it actually channels it down to the.
Okay. Oh, I see. It fills up.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a way to kind of, control, and it catches most of the seeds.
Okay.
Right, so we'll add that.
Okay, quarter cup of lemon juice going in.
And then a teaspoon of honey. There we go. Okay.
Do you want an eyeball or do you want a real spoon?
Yeah, let's do.
Okay, so we're back. Let's see here.
So we're doing
2 teaspoons, right?
of honey.
So the last thing that I want to talk about is something that you really opened my eyes about recently, and that was food intolerances and the eosinophils.
Oh.
And knowing what you can and can't eat.
So, well, I don't know that we can say what we're discovering, and certainly a type of disorder that is receiving a lot of attention, certainly in our field, something called eosinophilic esophagitis. So what we're finding is that these eosinophils are invading the mucosa of your esophagus, and adults are presenting with difficulty swallowing and sometimes stricturing because of the inflammation from the cell population.
So this is basically just inflammation in the digestive tract before you get to the stomach.
Correct. And that's where we have initially discovered it, but now we're finding that you can have these eosinophils populating the stomach, and so that may be a cause for the upset stomach. But it's very difficult to correlate that, but I recently found that we're even seeing eosinophils in the colon with the person that presented with diarrhea. The point is that this particular white cell or immune cell type indicates you are having some type of allergic reaction to something. The problem is we aren't going to be able to figure out what you're allergic to.
But the thing is that this is not a normal or a usual occurrence. This is something that you're seeing now that you said you'd never seen before.
Right. Well, so the diagnosis of eosinophilic esophagitis, so in the esophagus, we've probably have seen this over the last 20 years, but now we're seeing it sort of progressing to other parts of the GI tract. Less frequent, probably because the symptoms are not as distinct as when you have inflammation in your esophagus.
And what causes this? Why is it migrating that way? Why is it showing up in the digestive tract?
We don't know, but I'm speculating that there are things in our environment that's getting into our food sources, whether it's plants and the water table or actually ingredients in foods. But we're never going to be able to figure that out because a lot of things in foods, as you know, are proprietary.
Right.
So
but we know that there is something going on in the food supply that is affecting it's causing an allergic reaction to show, or signs of an allergic reaction to show up in the stomach or in the digestive tract.
Correct.
So guys, you know how I talk about Roundup sprays, pesticides, herbicides that are being sprayed? There are all sorts of additives like thickeners and emulsifiers and modified starches of an unknown origin. All these things that are not what our grandparents, certainly not what our, in my case, parents even ate, that have been sort of creeping into the food supply since like the 50s, mid 50s, early 60s, something like that. And now we're seeing evidence that it's doing something to us. So when we think about, because this is something I want you to take away from this, if nothing else, pay attention to your sourcing, to where your foods are coming from. And if it's packaged foods, you want to look at what's in there. I mean, we've heard it a million times. If it's things that we don't recognize, ingredients we don't recognize, then pass it over. But really, that's more truer than ever. We don't even know what the packaging materials can be made out of. Things can leach into the foods that way. So you really have to be more vigilant about where you get your food, who's making it, and what exactly is in it.
Okay, so the last part of the making the dressing is adding a cup of oil. So I added salt and pepper.
Oh, we have to taste. I'm getting forks.
Yes. Really.
So I have to say, first of all, that I have had so much fun being here with you this weekend. Oh, sorry. This weekend, it's 4th of July weekend. Of course, it'll be after that by the time you see it. But we've been here just like catching up. Juanita and I met, my friend, I think you were the first person I met in
high school?
In high school, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and in the cafeteria, as I recall. And since then, we've been through, obviously, a lot of life together. And one of the things I absolutely love about her is that she's very curious about just life and just curious in general. And she's willing to share her knowledge and her salad. And oh my God, can you even hear? I mean,
yeah. And what's nice is that the Orzo may kind of stick together sitting there in the bowl, but then once you add the dressing with that oil, and it just really separates nicely, and just kind of toss it, and then we're ready.
Oh man, how do you serve? Like, do you just serve it on the side?
So you can actually. So we've just cooked this, so it can be served kind of warm, sort of room temperature.
Right.
We had talked about I think some fun things to do would be adding goat cheese. Some people may want to even add some seeds or something to give it a little crunch. That's another idea.
Oh, like you could add some maybe chopped nuts or something too?
Yeah. I mean, it's such a nice basic salad for the summer, and it's just really, really light.
Yeah.
And then, actually, I think we can. You guys gonna want to dig in, or
plates.
or we're gonna just. Where's the little? We got some plates here.
Okay.
We'll just we can share one plate.
Okay, that's cool.
All right, make sure we get all the different goodness. And we'll just so you can see how pretty that looks. And,
all right.
And then, but some people will make it the night before or a couple of days before.
Oh,
to
right.
Let those flavors, soak in, and then you can serve it chilled. I mean, a nice thing would be to serve it on a bed of lettuce.
Mm-hmm. I want to get a little bit of everything in this bite.
Mm-hmm.
Mmm. I love the way that the lemon complements the oil. It lightens it up and gives it this really fresh.
And you can imagine with it chilled, it'll give it sort of another dimension, especially after sitting overnight. So
guys, I will write out the recipe in the description box. Give this a try. If you have had any, Orzo, if you've had like a salad like this, that may be a little different, an Orzo salad that's put it together a little differently, let us know in the comments so we can try it.
So some people may have problems with garbanzo beans because it is, a legume. So they may want to substitute another type of pea that they don't have problems with. Or that's where a seed may, instead of their garbanzo beans, they could put use some type of seed like pumpkin seeds or
chia seeds.
Well, those may be too small.
That
would be interesting because they'll still swell up and give them a little bit more gelatinous.
Or green peas.
Yeah, I think green peas. Actually, edamame would be.
Oh yes, and then that way, give us a little hormone boost as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for like doing this. Oh, love you too.
My hands are sticky.
Yeah, we brag on Juanita all the time because she's like, of all of us, she's like the most accomplished, the most educated, but she's also, you know, like really willing to help me and help all of us learn from what she knows so that we don't have to come see her.
Yes, please stay out of my office.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, by all means, give it a thumbs up. And Free Range Diva will be back next week with our regularly, scheduled stuff in my bedroom. I don't know what it's going to be, but it'll be something. So until I see you in my next video, I'm wishing you a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Take good care of yourselves, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Bye. Bye.
Oh my God.